All right, everyone. So we're getting closer to the release of the newest chapter of the Boruto 2 Blue Vortex manga. And as it is every month, the closer we get to the release date, that is when we see the promotion for the upcoming chapter also start from Shueisha themselves. Now, again, we have a page from the upcoming chapter on the official Naruto website. That is what we are going to be discussing here in this video. Now, as always, guys, even though this is officially being promoted by Shueisha themselves, this is still a spoiler for the upcoming chapter. So if you want to go into this chapter completely clean, then this is definitely not going to be the video for you. Now, before we actually get to the video, let me just say real quick, I am sorry that I haven't been that active on the channel for the past couple of weeks. I am definitely planning on fixing that. I just had some real life stuff that basically took precedence over it. But now that that's over, I'm going to hopefully go back to being a little bit more active on the channel. So basically more videos, and I am definitely going to go back to live streaming. So just a quick note on what's going to be happening with the channel, and just wanted to, again, apologize for not being, as active as I, promised to be, and as active as I kind of wanted to be on the channel. So just wanted to say that real quick. Now let's go ahead and get into what we have right here. So this upcoming chapter, now, as we saw from the ending of the previous chapter, we saw Sarada fully awaken her Mangekyo Sharingan, and obviously a lot of people had some questions. We saw it happen because she saw Yodo being injured, and Yodo, seemingly about to die, is basically telling Sarada that she needs to stop holding back, and that she knows that Sarada has a power that she's been hiding. And a lot of people have been wondering, why haven't we seen Sarada use her Mangekyo Sharingan before, in situations that a lot of people believe would have actually required her to use her Mangekyo Sharingan. But if you guys remember, when it comes to using the Mangekyo Sharingan, number one, there are drawbacks when it comes to using the Mangekyo. So we all remember that when you use the Mangekyo, you start to actually lose your eyesight. Even using it once, you immediately start to lose your eyesight. So that's why you have to be very careful when it comes to when and where you use it. And, a lot of people believe that, when Sarada was going up against Code, that would have been a good time to use it. But obviously that didn't really require her to use it, because that's when Boruto showed up. And now with what we have right here with this page, which we do have a translation for, which we will get to, but right now I'm just looking at the raw page that's been uploaded to the official Naruto website, and it is a flashback. Now, like I said, when it comes to what happened with Code, that's when Boruto showed up, and just based on what we have here, it seems like there is a reason why Boruto may have showed up at that specific moment, because of what Sasuke is telling Boruto here in this page. So this is a flashback to what looks like almost right after Boruto and Sasuke left the village. So not long after the whole thing with Omnipotence happened, and Boruto obviously has the scar over his eye from Kawaki, and we can see it's all bandaged up, so it's still in the process of being healed. And this is definitely before the last flashback that we got with them in chapter 5, if I remember correctly. So this is still very much after the whole thing with Omnipotence happened, and right after Boruto and Sasuke left the village. And what we have here in this flashback, in this page, is Sasuke essentially telling Boruto about Sarada awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan. And he's basically confirming that Sarada didn't even realize that she awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. So for a lot of people who have been wondering, is Sarada hiding her power? Well, it turns out that no, because like what Sasuke said, she wasn't even aware that she awakened her Mangekyo Sharingan. So for a lot of the people who believe that Sarada spent 3 years training with the Mangekyo Sharingan, possibly with Kakashi, because Kakashi is the only person in the village right now who has any experience using the Mangekyo Sharingan, so he's the perfect person to actually teach her. Well, it's been basically confirmed that she didn't even know about it, so she would have had no reason to go to Kakashi to actually ask for training. So it seems like what we're seeing right now with Sarada is her using the Mangekyo Sharingan for the first time, and actually knowing that she even has this power. And another thing that Sasuke does talk about right here is something that, again, I think a lot of people were wondering, because what Sasuke says right here is that him essentially seeing the Mangekyo Sharingan was, to him at least, undeniable proof that what Sarada was telling him is actually true. Now, this is something we've all basically speculated for a while now, because obviously knowing the lore of the Sharingan and even the Mangekyo Sharingan, it would put it in Sasuke's head that, okay, what Sarada's telling him is true, is she's not just making this up, because the emotions that she would need to feel to awaken the Mangekyo would have to actually be real in order for that to happen. So he says to him that it is undeniable proof that what she's saying is indeed true and that we're all essentially being deceived. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not being affected by omnipotence, because we know that even if you know about omnipotence, what it does is that it slowly starts to remove that knowledge from your head. So you basically don't even remember realizing that you've been tricked. That's essentially how kind of scary this ability actually is, that even if you know you're being tricked, it slowly starts to remove that information from your head. You start to forget what even happened. We saw that happen with Shikamaru, where we saw him realize that something is going on and that he decided to help Boruto, but he basically doesn't even remember why he decided to help Boruto. That information's been completely removed from his head by omnipotence, but he does remember deciding to help Boruto. That's what he remembered, and that's what he's essentially basing his actions on. And Sasuke is right now doing the same thing with Sarada, with her awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan. Just that alone is enough for him to move forward with helping Boruto and using that as a basis for his reasoning for why he believes that they've all been deceived. Even if omnipotence starts to remove that from his head, he just has to remember Sarada awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan, because it can't remove that from his head. So just remembering that is enough for him to also remember that, okay, yeah, I've decided to help Boruto because of Sarada, because of my daughter, and that we're all being tricked. But he also goes on to tell Boruto that basically the situation that we are going up against, her Mangekyo or her power is going to be really helpful. And it ties back to what we saw him say in chapter 5, that what's about to happen is going to require the teamwork of both Boruto and Sarada in order to essentially be able to solve this whole thing. And he even goes on to say that when the time comes, she'll awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan fully, and she'll just instinctively understand what her abilities actually are. And we know this to be the case because the same thing happened with Sasuke, not just with his Mangekyo. It was the same thing with his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. And even later when he got given the Rinnegan by Hagoromo, he basically on instinct knew what the Rinnegan's ability actually was. Now, he still needed to use it to get used to it, but instinctively he just knew what the ability actually was. And he's basically saying the same thing is going to happen for Sarada. And we saw that happen at the end of the previous chapter, where her ability is to open this sort of black hole that is just sucking in the iron sand. And what her other ability even is, obviously we will probably find out in the future. Now, whether it happens in this chapter or not, obviously we are going to have to wait and see. Now, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say, or that's pretty much all that we have right here. Maybe there might be something else. Obviously, there's a lot of context that we don't have. We don't know what's happening before. We don't know what's happening after this. We don't even know when specifically in this chapter this is happening, whether it's right at the beginning or maybe in the middle or maybe towards the end. We don't know. But this does beg the question of, is it possible that maybe one of the reasons why Boruto wants to get to the battlefield isn't just to save Sarada's life, but also because Sasuke may have told him that one of the drawbacks of using the Mangekyo Sharingan is, like I said, you lose your eyesight. So maybe he wants to go there because he wants to make sure she doesn't have to, fully rely on her Mangekyo Sharingan's power, because again, the more she uses it, the more or the quicker she is going to lose her eyesight. And I do wonder whether Sarada even knows that this is even the case, because if she didn't even know she had the Mangekyo Sharingan, then it is possible that she maybe didn't seek out information on it and probably doesn't know about its weakness. So obviously, again, we're probably going to have some answers to these questions when the chapter officially gets released. But right now, we're just going off of what we have right here in front of us. And just real quick, if you're wondering, the chapter gets released on the 21st of this month. So on the 21st, that is when the chapter gets released, or maybe the 20th, depending on where you are in the world. But so with all that said and out of the way, thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video right here. And again, I do apologize for not being really active on the channel as I, wanted to, or as I said I was going to be. But, like I said, now that that stuff that I had going on and outside of the channel is basically over with, I'm hoping to go back to being more active on the channel, and hopefully starting with this video and future videos moving forward, and absolutely definitely doing more live streams. So with that said, out of the way, thank you guys again so much for watching the video all the way up until the end. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Leave a like, share the video out there, subscribe if you are new, ring the bell for notifications, and please guys, comment down below with whatever your thoughts are. And I hope I'll see you guys for my next video. Bye for now.